Hey Nicole, how are you? How's it going?
Hey Mark, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Weather's great here in Southern California right now, so we're finally getting some of that late spring weather, and it's putting me in a great mood. I've got the sunrise on one side of my house, so in the morning I have coffee just at like 5:30 in the morning. My dog's on the roof and watching the sunrise come over the hills, and then the end of the day I actually see the sun set on this side. So it's puts me in a great mood this time of year. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
jealous. I'm in Palm Beach, Florida, so it's also nice weather here, but I think Newport has its beat, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. It's a magical place here. It's tough to leave. Yeah.
Are
What
you
what
from
part
there?
of what's that? I'm actually from Palos Verdes, which is just north of here in the South Bay. So I've floated back and forth throughout the years from the beach cities of LA down to Orange County. But with everything that's happened in LA over the last like 5 years with politics and crime and the homelessness, it feels good to be down here in Orange County. It feels like the only safe place still in California.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's get started. To start off today, I'd love to just learn a little bit more about you and your background. Like, obviously, you being a co-founder in PUR-FORM and building the business you guys have today. Like, how did you get started in entrepreneurship in the first place?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a long story that I'll make a little shorter for the purposes of today, but my dad was an entrepreneur, like he calls himself like a serial entrepreneur. So I grew up around it. I kind of always saw I always had that bug of like I wanted to be an entrepreneur as well and just kind of be able to create my own destiny. And I just didn't really know what I would get into. When I was a teenager, I was diagnosed with a condition called polycystic ovarian syndrome. So it's becoming more well known, especially amongst young women today. One of the benefits of social media is now, people do have an outlet to find commonalities with one another and spread information quickly, which I didn't have that when I was younger. I'm 30 now, and this happened when I was 15. For those that don't know, it's a hormonal imbalance and can throw off your thyroid and was pretty devastating to me at that time. I was an athlete and I gained a lot of weight really quickly and I couldn't really understand why. My parents were super healthy, so it was just kind of this journey I went down. And thankfully, I had really supportive parents, and we were all just trying to problem solve and learn as much as we could as fast as we could. And over the years, I really found my way to functional medicine and health coaching. I got certified as a health coach while getting an MBA in marketing. I knew I loved marketing. I had a creative side as well as a business side. So I kind of did that at the same time and then started working in advertising and learned a lot living in New York City, working in more corporate advertising. And then when COVID happened, actually, I came down to stay with my parents, my boyfriend at the time, and my dad introduced us to a doctor he had been seeing who was doing stem cell therapy. And my boyfriend ended up getting a treatment done and had really positive results, like near miraculously
Wow.
positive results. And it was kind of just this huge eye-opening moment for both of us. We both definitely had, entrepreneurial spirit. We were used to working really hard, just working at our jobs in the city, and started talking to my dad. And my dad was not traveling for the first time in 20 years, just kind of everyone being homebound with COVID. And we kind of came together and actually ended up talking to the doctor about if he had any business partners, if he'd be interested in expanding his practice at all. And one thing led to another, and we ended up buying out his business partners and really just expanding this practice from just like a small cash pay stem cell doctor's practice into the full blown wellness center that now is PUR-FORM. So we do everything from, we still do stem cells and other regenerative medicine. We have functional and integrative medicine practitioners doing everything from you know, helping on a functional medicine side for patients like myself with PCOS at a younger age, all the way to, hormone therapies for older adults and, treating autoimmune conditions, all different kinds of stuff. And then we've got a whole suite of treatment offerings at PUR-FORM as well. Once again, could be for those that are already very healthy and just looking to kind of biohack themselves into even more optimal health, or for those who are really struggling with some sort of chronic inflammatory condition, that are really just looking to feel better.
That's awesome. I feel like Florida is like as a state is at the forefront when it comes to holistic wellness. There's so many different practices. We actually worked with a practice for a couple of years out of Naples called Vitaful. That was the same type of holistic wellness practice out of Naples, and it's interesting to see how much, like, I know so many people that have flown into Florida specifically to get stem cell therapy done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how long ago did you guys essentially buy into the business?
So we got started in 2020, as you probably know. During that time, construction and everything was just a little bit slow moving. So it took us almost 2 years to get our full office built. And then, so we really opened the doors of PUR-FORM in 2022. I'm sorry, in 2023, April 2023 was our grand opening. So we just hit our 2-year anniversary, and we've come a really long way. We're really proud of what we built.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Very cool. So what do with everything that you guys do in the practice now, what would you guys say is like your core, like hero service that people come in for?
It's still stem cell therapy,
Still stem cell.
honestly.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we do stem cell therapy for orthopedic conditions. So for anyone who's not familiar with, what stem cell therapy is, we're actually doing what's called autologous stem cell therapy, meaning we use your body's own cells. So our medical director, Dr. Prita, extracts bone marrow from your iliad crest, which is your pelvic bone. He also does a small liposuction to get some fat cells, and then we take blood for PRP. We spin that all down and together, really activate the stem cells, and then he injects that fluid the same day in the area that you're looking to treat. So, for my husband, it was his shoulder. For my dad, it was his knees. My mom just did her hips. So really any of the major joints, Dr. Prita will treat if the person is a candidate for it. And then second to stem cell therapy, we actually have a treatment called EBO2, which is a blood filtration, ozone, and oxygen treatment that is really amazing for anybody with any kind of chronic inflammatory condition going on. So whether that be, rheumatoid arthritis or Hashimoto's, to a long COVID, or really just anybody who's taxing their body and feeling like they just kind of can't shake this feeling of being, weighed down and feeling inflamed. It can be really, really helpful for all of that. Mold is a big thing that we treat with that as well, mold and Lyme disease. And you actually get a canister of fluid that is what is filtered out of your blood. And we've been testing that lately, and gotten some really interesting results to see exactly what we're pulling out of people's blood. We've got a lot of mold and metals and forever chemicals in our blood these
something
days.
I'd actually be interested in. I actually was diagnosed with Hashimoto's at the end of last year. I've
Really?
I've had a hypoactive thyroid condition my whole life.
Oh, wow.
And I've been on Synthroid, which is a thyroid hormone, like since I was a teenager. Took a break from it for over 10 years because I just didn't see any real progress with, getting labs drawn every couple months and going back to an endo and them saying the same thing over and over. It doesn't look like it. You look metabolically healthy.
Yeah.
And then something happened in like more adult life now. I'm just turning 37 next month. And I realized like I was like falling asleep if I was in the car midday. If I wasn't driving, I was like dozing off.
Yeah.
And I could like fall asleep like that. And I was exhausted. And I would always think, well, I'm pretty active and I work a lot, so I'm just tired.
Mhm.
And went to, actually my wife she's a holistic wellness practitioner. She's a NICU nurse, and then she went through a holistic wellness practitioner cert as well. So she said, I'm going to draw your labs. Did a full panel. My primary physician wouldn't do it. He's like, oh, you seem fine. Seems good. Did a
Mhm.
full thyroid panel. Found out I had Hashimoto's, and through that took those labs. Went to an endo, got me on a thyroid hormone protocol again, and then my wife actually got me on a protocol of supplements that's been like
Good.
life changing. Like
Yeah.
it's a pain. You got to take it 3 times a day, but it's been really, really great. So I'd love to try out that treatment. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I think it would be really helpful for you. Yeah, I have hypothyroidism as well, and it's something that you really have to stay on top of because even when you are treating it, different life stressors come up or physical stressors, and your body is very sensitive, so it can really throw it off. But yeah, EBO2 is really helpful. We actually train other doctors all over the world on how to do the treatment as well. So there may even be, we may even have a client near you. I could find out for you.
That's awesome. I'd love to find that out. Very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So when you guys took over this practice, did you guys rebrand it at all? I mean, you guys have done an amazing job with the branding on the site and
Thank you.
everything that you're doing. So I love it. And I'm sure your background in marketing and advertising helped lead to that, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I manage all of our marketing, so thank you. It's definitely an ongoing effort to try to keep the brand clean and make sure everything that we do really feels on brand. Because yes, when we came in, there really wasn't, I mean, I guess the like quote unquote brand in place was just, it was very, not up to par with what I wanted. The practice was called U.S. Institute of Regenerative Medicine. We initially rebranded to just be called the Institute, and just moving into our new facility and the business we were really growing into, I just felt like it felt a little too institutional. And I wanted it to feel like a cool place that you wanted to come with your friends and, hang out. And, we have cold plunges and saunas and red light and a gym space. So it's so much more than just like a medical institution. It really is like a full-on wellness center that you can come and just have more of like a fun day. So yeah, we chose the name PUR-FORM, and have been through a couple iterations with the brand, but I'm happy with where it's at now, and I'm always looking forward to the next iteration.
Very cool. And how does the membership work?
Yeah, so our memberships work with some of the treatments I just mentioned. So at our um, at our lowest tier of membership, you get 5 wellness treatments a month. So things like red light therapy, infrared sauna, contrast therapy, which is cold plunge and infrared sauna, cryotherapy, and compression therapy and hydrogen therapy. Those are all of what we call our core treatments. So at our lowest tier membership, you get 5 of those treatments a month. At our mid tier, you get 10 of those treatments a month plus a vitamin IV. And at our highest tier, you get 30 treatments a month plus a vitamin IV and a vitamin shot. So that would be really for the patient who is looking to come in for either daily treatments, or when they come in weekly, they want to do multiple things in one
Wow.
shot.
Very cool. I'm curious, how big is your facility with that many different treatments? I'm assuming you guys really built out something special.
Yeah, it's pretty big. We have 12,500 square feet.
Wow. I now understand why it took a couple of years to get that fully built out.
Yes, yeah, it was definitely a labor of love. And yeah, we've got a lot of space, and we've really grown into it. When we first moved in, I was like, oh no, this space might be too big for, what we bargained for. But I was walking around yesterday and literally had a nurse being like, I have nowhere to put this IV patient. We are so busy right now, which is really a dream come true.
Exciting. And what part of Palm Beach are you guys in?
PureForm is located in Boca Raton, so South
Boca
Palm
Raton.
Beach County.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what are you guys' plans for the future? Is it just continue to grow this practice? Do you guys have like plans to potentially build more locations in the future, kind of replicate that model? What do you guys want to do from now?
Yeah, so right now we're really focused on growing our telemed, just because there is so much there there's so much we can do to help our patients even without them being in the office and being in Palm Beach County. So much of our clientele are snowbirds, or they, travel for the summer season. So we want to just make sure we're really supporting them to, the utmost of our ability. And so much of that integrative and functional medicine care can be done remotely. So right now we have 3 integrative practitioners, and we'll likely be bringing on more in the future, really just expanding our breadth of expertise and making sure we just have practitioners for everyone. Precision medicine is so personal. I'm sure you've experienced it. I know I've experienced it where you not only need someone with exactly the right knowledge, but you really want to click with the person. It's so personal. And a lot of the times for, some of these inflammatory conditions, it comes from, um, it's not just the physical, it's the emotional and the mental. So you want to make sure you're just really vibing with the person that you're working with. So that's our focus right now. We also recently just expanded to have some sexual health treatments. So expanding our regenerative medicine services just from orthopedics into sexual health as well. And the clients that have experienced that are, can't be singing our praises enough. So that was, a completely unexpected turn for the practice or expansion of the practice, but kind of just listening to what our clients are asking for and needing and looking to meet those expectations. The beauty of having such a big facility is we do have space to flex to whatever it seems like we need the next right move is. So yeah, we're really excited to just continue expanding our telemed services and just keep working within the space that we have.
That's so cool. I think you guys are in such a great position too, is there's such a paradigm shift in how consumers approach like health in general. Like the paradigm of like going to a physician who's just going to offer you drugs or surgery
Mhm.
is, I think people have realized like that is not what you need, especially if you have an inflammatory condition. Like
Mhm.
those two things, which traditional medicine primarily teaches you to prescribe, doesn't really work for everyone. And with how sick so many people are in today's age, just from our environment and food, it's
Yep.
evident that what you guys are doing is like more necessary than ever before. I
Yeah.
mean, you can be, even if you live in a, like you're in Palm Beach, I'm in Newport Beach. I'm in Newport Beach, like traditionally very, very healthy areas, right?
Mhm.
And still you look at the environmental conditions that we're exposed to every day. Our
Right.
food has 80% less nutrients than it did 50 years ago. Just the air that we're breathing, all these things are affecting us, and everyone needs a protocol to essentially make sure that they're living their best life and at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is. It's fortunate, unfortunate truth that this kind of medicine really is so much more necessary than ever before. As you said, not only does our food have so many less nutrients than it used to, but has so many more chemicals. For something, I'm not gonna lie, when I first started, I was like, do we really need to be like filtering our blood? That seems unnecessary. And then when you look at it and you see what's coming out and to see the amount of glyphosate that are in people's systems, which a lot of the times is from eating fruits and vegetables, like it just feels like this like crazy thing that you can be doing something that you're supposed to be doing and still be bloating your body with toxins in an unfortunate way. And just the level of stress that most people live at nowadays as well. Humans weren't really made to live with access to thousands of other people via their cell phones at a click of a button and just inviting in so many opinions and working multiple jobs at once. So I
Yeah,
think,
you're right. It's we have more, even though, life is better. There's probably ever been like
yeah,
quality of life. It's still, we have more stress from the ability to borrow more money, buy more things, have
totally,
access to everything through a phone 24/7. I mean,
totally.
think about like, 25 years ago when people didn't have cell phones, you weren't getting pinged on group chats or through notifications. Like even your spouse wouldn't call you at work. It's like you just wouldn't get, you wouldn't have a boss or a client reaching out to you at weird hours of the day. Now it's a direct like ping, ping, ping nonstop.
Yeah,
And like you said too, even eating organic foods or eating like anything, like there's the food industry is finding a way around like putting more chemicals into foods,
yep.
whether we know it or not, at any given time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was talking about just eating whole foods, and then you think about even just like the highly processed foods that a majority of people are eating on a day to day. It's just we're living in a completely different world than our ancestors were. But the fortunate piece is, there's plenty of stuff that you can do to combat that. In addition to all the, I always say like biohacking and fancy treatments are awesome, but make sure you have the foundation of the basics in place as well. Make sure you're sleeping for 8 hours a night and, buying organic whenever you can and moving your body every day. It doesn't have to look like anything extreme, but just lifting some weights and getting out for a walk can go a really long way as well.
Yeah, if you're not
Um,
doing the basics
yeah,
of eating healthy, working out, like sleeping, everything else is kind of worthless because it's,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I say that all the time. It's like you can spend all the money in the world, but if you're not lifting weights and making sure you have a healthy amount of muscle mass on your body, you know, you're probably not going to live to 100.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So cool. Yeah, the other day I did one of these podcasts with the founder of RP Strength, which is, they're one of the biggest like online fitness coaching apps on the market. They've been doing it since 2010, and Nick's partner is a really, really popular like internet personality on lifting, and we were having the same conversations.
yeah,
It's like they have an app specifically designed to like optimize your nutrition with your macros, your calorie count, like everything. But at the end of the day, it's just doing the baseline fundamentals, being active, lifting weights every day or multiple times a week, and
yeah,
make sure that you're staying consistently metabolically healthy before you do anything else.
yeah.
Yeah.
Get out and get your sunlight. Exactly what you said at the beginning of the interview. It's like if you can get out, watch the sunrise, and get out and watch the sunset, like that in itself will do you so much good that, a pill won't. But I love the fun stuff in addition to it all as well. So a quarterly EBO2, a monthly NADIV, all these things keep me feeling really good so that I can perform at the level I want to perform and, run our business and host my podcast and juggle the million things that life throws at me without, letting my cup spill over with stress.
Absolutely. What's your like, out of all the things that you can do like on a monthly basis with those services, like you were just saying, what's your favorite to just consistently do?
Yeah, so like I said, I do a quarterly EBO2 treatment. We just actually started another protocol called plasmapheresis. So it's actually taking some plasma out of your blood, putting the red blood cells back in, and replacing the plasma with a substance called albumin. So that felt really good too. After both EBO2 and plasmapheresis, I just feel lighter and like I have more energy and have more motivation to get to the gym early in the morning. Not that I don't go when I don't have it. It's just nice to feel like, yes, I can't wait to do this. Um, so those things I try to do quarterly. Monthly, I try to do an NADIV, which also just helps me really feel fresh and um, I notice a lot less brain fog. So it's funny, I'm actually due for an IV, and I'm noticing even in my meetings this morning where it just takes me an extra second to think of the words that I'm trying to get to. And I notice that when I'm fresh on my NAD. That doesn't happen. And then I usually follow that by a methylene blue IV as well, which is a nootropic.
That's
So
the
those two
stack. NAD
together,
and methylene blue. You've got it going on.
yeah, those are like the ultimate like
That's awesome.
brain stack, in my
Would you
opinion.
stack those in the same session or would you come
Mhm.
back and forth? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
would do, but you just have to do them back to back, not in the same bag.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like to do NAD, methylene blue, and then while I'm dripping the methylene blue, I'll lay in the red light bed, and I'll put hydrogen gas, like the nasal cannula, on all at the same time. I'm all about like time efficiency, so if
Yeah.
I can do multiple things at once, I'm doing it. But yeah, that's like there is like no better day than the day after I'm able to do like NAD, methylene blue, red light, and hydrogen. I feel like $1,000,000.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And, I know you talked briefly about telehealth. Are you guys, is that something you're doing in the future or you're actively doing right now?
We're actively doing it right now. Yeah, our telehealth providers are awesome. They also come in the office. Um, so if you are local and want to see one of them in the office, we can schedule that as well. But yeah, they're doing a really great job. We have 2 male providers, 1 female provider. Depending on what you're looking to treat, our team can help you, pair yourself with the right provider. And yeah, they'll treat everything from, hormones to thyroid to, peptide therapy. They'll recommend the right supplements for you based on your blood work and a consultation with you. And we can run further functional medicine testing as well. So, say you're having maybe some gut issues, we can run a gut test. We can run, a urine hormone test. There's really like an endless list of functional medicine testing that we can run with them as well.
Very cool. And I'm assuming too, that's something that's pretty scalable, right? Like it's interesting. We consulted with another practice this last year and
Mm-hmm.
kind of built out a roadmap for their telehealth system selling, a full a full stem cell package similar to what you guys have.
Yeah.
And part of the roadmap that we built out is like, their offer was essentially like 18,000 to get in the door and run the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, well, like with the telehealth system, you could essentially be running paid traffic throughout the whole US
Mm-hmm.
to acquire leads, get them onto an assessment call, see if they're the right fit, and then get them in. And then they were, part of this game plan was to have them fly in for
Yeah.
that day package as
Yeah.
part of it, and then follow up after that. But a lot of opportunity with with where telehealth has opened up medicine over the last few years.
Oh yeah,
Very
I totally agree. I'm honestly so grateful it exists. Even myself in the past, like it's just nice to be able to be in the comfort of your own home or office and be able to get your consult with your provider in and just be in your cozy space. And yes, it's extremely scalable from the business side. I love it. Um, just because the providers are comfortable as well, they don't have to worry about, you know, like being in the office and which patients are in which room. It just makes everything really simple and clean. People love working from home. So it's actually a nice change of pace because we did go from, it's funny, while the whole world was turning to work from home, we started a completely brick and mortar business or got involved in a completely brick and mortar business. So it's actually nice to incorporate some teleservices. And yeah, from the business side of it, we're really excited about it because the other thing is you can you can acquire talent from all over the country, which is really nice. I love South Florida, but the talent pool can be a little bit challenging, especially because we're far from Miami. So that's been another thing that's been really nice is being able to expand our horizons on that front a little bit.
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about your podcast and kind of what you guys are doing with that.
Yeah, so it's called the Health Span Collective. We're new. I think we have 11 episodes live so far, and it's been so much fun. We started with a few episodes with our medical director, Dr. Parita, who is an absolute wealth of knowledge. So I kind of just wanted to lay that foundation with him. And then we've had some really exciting guests on. We've got some really great episodes that are actually about to come out. I was able to just sit down with one of the hosts of Almost 30 podcast, Lindsay Simsick, who's kind of an OG in the space. And, just some other really great names in the health and wellness industry. Sam Cutler, who's the Fit Fatale and has Mindful. Ilariana Balai, who has Healthfully. Grace Terrell, who's a really well-known nutritionist. So we're really just getting into, we're going deep on a lot of things, especially holistic nutrition, just because that is such a passion of mine. And like I said, is such a foundation of health that I think it's really important people understand the basics of. And then also just getting into all the complicated, cool, and weird things there are to learn. We had Dr. Shade, who is the founder of Quicksilver Scientific Supplements, on. So that'll be a fun episode. He goes deep on some different protocols that they put patients on with his products. So it's been a lot of fun. There's definitely a lot to learn. So we're trying to keep a good mix of, super geniuses that go 10 miles deep, and then also just understanding the basics of, keeping your hormones balanced, and really even talking about, work-life balance and running businesses while having families. So I'm loving it.
That's awesome. Last question. I always like to ask everyone, what do you like to do for fun besides work and fitness and health?
Yeah, great question. Somebody asked me this the other day, and I was like, ooh, I need to focus on fun a little more. Honestly, I love being with my friends. Actually, a few friends and I went out on a pontoon. We rented a pontoon the other day and made some pizzas at their house. And it was just like, I kept thinking, this is the perfect day. We went out really early in the morning, which I was a little like, really? We're meeting at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning. But it was so fun. We were out on the water early before it got too hot. And then we're able to just relax and, chill and eat pizza. And to me, that's what life is about.
That's cool. You guys, I'm so jealous. I'm a big boater from Southern California, and I'm so jealous of the intercoastal and the waters that you guys have in Southern Florida.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. When I told you when I was in Fort Lauderdale the other week, that was my first time actually going through the Fort Lauderdale River. And we had my captain driving my boat. And I was like, I've been driving boats my whole life. And I was like, I am not qualified to be driving a boat here. Like all the bridges and how narrow the canals were, I was just like, this is just so different from what I'm used to. But
yeah, it's definitely very different from California boating. Yeah. My dad's a big boater. So I've always loved being on the water, and that was what made my parents want to originally move to Florida, was just the boating. They were from New York, New Jersey, New York. And, it's so nice down here with the intercoastal. So that was exactly what we do. We didn't even leave the intercoastal. I mean, on a pontoon, you really can't go out into the
you don't want to go out in open water or through one of get caught in one of the inlets. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and my husband and I love to go out. Like we love, unashamedly, we love like a nice dinner and a walk along the water, along the intercoastal in West Palm where we live. So that's typically like what I do for fun. I love to shop as well. So that's
awesome.
Like my guilty pleasure.
Very cool. Well, Nicole, thanks so much for coming on today. It was great getting to interview you. And I like to finish up. Where can people get in touch with you or, the practice if they're interested in learning more?
Yeah, so you can find the practice PUR-FORM health.com. So PUR-FORM is spelled PURFORM health.com, or find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at PUR-FORM Health. You can find me on Instagram at Nicole J. Doran, which is Doran, and the podcast at HealthSpan Collective on Instagram. Or our website is thehealthspancollective.com, and that can bring you to wherever you like to listen to podcasts.
Awesome. And I'll put all those links in the show notes when we publish it. So they'll be easily accessible. Well,
Cool.
thanks, Nicole. This was awesome. Really
Thank you
excited
so
that we got
much
to
for
do this.
having me.
Yeah. Thanks.